Welcome back to Infinite Sheep, everybody. LocalLogbook.com. Remember the last time we were here, we were talking about the UPN 32 primetime invasion on WACY, which was in 1997, the UPN affiliate for Green Bay, Wisconsin. And in that previous installment of our little show here, I kind of introduced you to how the invasion got rolling, how it was received by various folks at the station, and the fact that it actually popped decent ratings numbers. Hallelujah. So suddenly, there was a little bit of a shift in tone from, oh, you're the guy who had the live pig on his show reel, to, oh, what would you like to do next? And so we started working on ways to expand the invasion into the rest of the station's identity. Now, of course, weekday mornings, weekday daytime, completely off limits because wacy-32 was already a thing, and that had also played a significant part in that jump in our ratings. But as far as like weekend movie blocks, we started looking for ways to tie that in, and so we got to have some further fun with it. This is a spot from, I believe this was going into January or February of 1998, so almost sweeps time again, almost time for the second sweeps month of the primetime invasion, and we started lopping primetime part off the invasion and just make it the UPN 32 invasion, because that way it wasn't locked into between 7 and 10 p.m., and it could be applied to otherwise fairly innocuous weekend movie packages.
Plus all, the UPN 32 primetime invasion to corporate television. In January, UPN 32 is invading the movies. Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin heat up the Cold War in the hunt for Red October. An unlikely new champion of justice raises the stakes in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Donald Sutherland battles a secret alien takeover in the Puppet Masters. Charlie Sheen and William Dafoe take the point in Platoon. And then, in February, the original version of the original science fiction blockbuster is back. The UPN 32 movie invasion. Saturday nights at 7 in January, only on UPN 32.
Okay, those of you who have spent any quality time with a Chiron before, like this one, in the tape edit bay that I frequently got to use, you'll recognize that the guts of that spot were done mainly here on tape. Things were not being done on the Avid just yet, at least not by me. That would happen going into fall of 98 after I had gotten familiarized with that hardware. Now, since probably one of the ballsier things about the UPN 32 invasion was that it dared to say, we are not even attempting to carve out a niche in sports. We are trying to carve out a niche for everyone who is not watching sports. That was... I remember in my original pitch, it was like, look, the men who are not watching sports, they are watching this stuff. They are watching stuff blowing up in space. Or at least they would probably like to be watching that. We could be accommodating them and own both sides of the equation. Once the invasion was taken on board as, okay, this was kind of successful, then I started having enough wiggle room to really kind of get in your face with the sports fans and just own it. We are not the sports station. We're not trying to be the sports station. We're blowing up stuff in space, baby.
The Green Bay Packers are once again headed for the Super Bowl, and there's only one place you can see the game. But this isn't it. But this doesn't mean you won't see some flying tackles, the occasional blitz, a long drive, maybe a quick third down conversion, and you might just see a long bomb. We're skipping the World Championship and taking over the universe instead. 5 nights a week, we're controlling everything you see and hear with the primetime invasion only on UPN 32. We're not playing games anymore.
Oh, you gotta love Bill LeMay. It didn't matter what I wrote. We would fax him the script, and he would just sell it. No matter how silly it was. Here's the funny thing. I don't know how accurate any of that football terminology was, because I am not a sports fan. Which was kind of, the invasion was really me selling to me. I was the intended audience for my own programming block, basically. And so my strategy on this was always, and I'm not even ashamed to say this, it was me selling to me. What would sell me on watching this stuff? And so I really liked the idea of getting out there, and we are just totally owning the fact that you're not going to see sports on this station. At least, you're not going to see NFL games on this station. I'll put it that way. It was just kind of entertaining to be able to get in people's faces with it. And yes, was that last clip Gold Ducat holding Cisco's baseball? Yes, because I was told I might want to make the spot something of an evergreen, because Milwaukee Brewers baseball season's a big deal in that area as well, because Milwaukee was only an hour or two drive away. Yeah, day of a Brewers game, you'd have a significant population shift from Green Bay to Milwaukee. So I was advised to maybe not make it specific to one season of sports. I didn't really heed that, but I did throw in the baseball thing at the end. It's, we're not playing games anymore. You can have all the jock stuff you want. The nerd stuff is all here. I liaised a lot with local fan club chapters. And I would tell them, okay, coming up this month, these are the Deep Space Nine or Voyager episodes that we have been told we will be showing. These will be new ones, these will be reruns. They loved that stuff because this was before this kind of info was all over the internet. The internet did exist, but it was still, it wasn't quite mainstream yet. And so they ate that stuff up. Yeah, I distinctly remember seeing one fan club newsletter that was like, hey, we just heard from this promo guy at WACY. One of us is on the inside. And I suppose that's true. I was trying to leverage every ounce of nerddom that I could muster, and the thought occurred to me, let's make friends with the local fan community. Why not? Why not? If it was a sports thing, you would have no second thoughts about doing that. So, sports fandom is just nerding out about something non-nerdy. I firmly believe that, and I will die on that hill. These were fun times, and I was probably, to my coworkers at the time, I was probably pretty damn insufferable because I had a fairly decent batting average. I'm not saying that lasted forever, but at the time, once we got past that first ratings book, and it was like, oh, the invasion popped a number. Suddenly, the invasion... there's a saying that, failure is an orphan, but success has many fathers. Well, everybody all of a sudden thought the invasion was a good idea the whole time, and, bless them for that. If it gets them behind it, good. Because it was a good idea the whole time.